Welcome to the Soul Workspace, a sanctuary for lightworkers, visionaries, and soul-led creators. I'm Andrea, and it's my honor to be of service. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. So, I say so a lot. That's okay. I was reflecting the last couple days on my last couple episodes, and also just what wants to come through today. And I feel like a big part of this journey, like this creation journey, maybe we'll call it that, like our whole life, it's a spiritual journey, it's a healing journey. And then there's a point where we feel like this big surge of creativity and inspiration moving through us. I think that's when we start to get that realization that um, we're here for something more. What is it? We really start aligning with these things, and we start to take this path, but things arise, right? I know I mentioned in the part 2 episode about, there's a purpose, there's a reason why these things arise, for them to be felt. But I kind of wanted to dive a little deeper into some of these things because it can be hard. Some of the things that arise, sometimes it can feel like maybe I'm on the wrong path. Maybe this isn't for me. I should just quit. And it's so normal, and you're not alone. And that's why I really want to talk about it, because this is why I wanted to create this podcast, a space for people to come to and not feel alone on this journey. I've seen other people talk about this stuff, obviously, but not enough people. And I just want everyone to not feel so alone on this. So, I don't really know if there's an order of what arises. I think it just depends on you, your personality too, and how you were raised, and if you're already used to sharing vulnerable things or not. I think that's a huge part in the beginning, is when you're creating something from the heart, it is so vulnerable when you start sharing it with humanity, right? Whether it's on social media or even just talking to friends and family about what you're doing. I think sometimes, especially in the beginning, working in silence can be helpful because we are so sensitive, I think, in the beginning stages, that when we share our ideas with not safe people, meaning just people in our lives that don't really maybe follow the things we do or aren't like-minded necessarily, and so they have the best intentions, but they're gonna just say things that maybe might make you like kind of feel a little discouraged. So we need to share with safe people that we know that will lift us up, but also be honest, give us honest feedback, but not be triggered by the things that we're doing, right? But yeah, when we're vulnerable, that can be hard. I remember when I was really into my writing, and I just felt this urge to share. And I remember listening to one of my spiritual teachers, and he was talking about just needing to share. And I was pulling these cards, right? Share, 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 share your voice. Oh my gosh, okay. And it doesn't always have to make sense. And I say that a lot, right? Because our logical mind always wants it to make sense. Well, especially if we're kind of like entrepreneurs and we want to turn what we love into a business, which there's nothing wrong with that. We think, okay, I have these writings. How am I going to get that? Does it make sense to share it all the time? How am I going to make money from this? How is it even going to work? What does the path look like? But sometimes you just need to start sharing and getting your voice and getting used to putting yourself out there. And I started sharing my writing, and I would share it on like my Facebook page, and I'd maybe get a couple likes, or it would almost feel like, oh my gosh, that was so embarrassing, like nobody liked it, or I don't know. It just felt like, oh my gosh, I was so almost too seen. I was very vulnerable in the things that I said, and now I feel embarrassed. And I'm sure I probably have deleted. I know I've deleted things that I've posted because I just felt so embarrassed, and nobody said anything bad. And then I would get really good feedback. shockingly good feedback. Like, whoa, I didn't expect people to like this so much. And you got to take in consideration your audience too. Like, I wasn't really thinking about that. Like, most of my Facebook friends, at least back then, weren't really, do they like to read poetry daily? Maybe not, So, what did I expect? There was this meme. Well, I guess it's a meme. It was like a picture of this violinist. He's like a famous violinist, and he was playing in like a subway, and nobody really noticed or paid attention, right? But then he's on stage or whatever, and he's got a huge audience, and of course people love him there. So you have to take that into consideration. Not everybody's gonna, there's a certain type of people that you're gonna draw in that are gonna notice you, and you just have to trust that those people are drawn to you. Like, it'll happen. Like, your clients or your customers or your followers are out there, and they're destined to find you, but they can't find you if you don't start sharing your stuff, right? So sometimes in the beginning, it just feels like a practice. And now, not everybody, you might start sharing your stuff and it goes, crazy. But I think and it's hard not to have certain expectations, but to just kind of put it out there and take a deep breath, and whatever supposed to happen will happen. And just kind of knowing, obviously, like I said, it depends on, where you're at in your journey and what your past and everything, and just how far along you are already, maybe in like your career and what you're wanting to do. But just kind of realizing that it's almost feels like a practice round sometimes, where you're doing it, and maybe not a lot will happen, but it's helping you to anchor that new energy, and your ego is unraveling in the process. So, like I said, you might feel embarrassment come up. You feel too seen. Maybe feel silly. Like, I know I would post something, I'd feel really excited about what I shared, and then all of a sudden I'd be laying there in the middle of the night and like sweating, like, what did I just do? And I started learning that when that same exact feeling would arise, I knew I was on the right path, because it's actually happened in the past when I was opening up, like I said, those brick and mortar wellness businesses. And now obviously it didn't end up working out, but that doesn't mean that it still wasn't, something I was destined to do. Obviously I was doing it, right? But I remember I would just all of a sudden wake up and be like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I would like have all this doubt and fear would arise. But I started learning that anytime that would come up, it would just mean I'm on the right path. Like, it would mean that a part of my ego is dissolving, fear is being released, and I'm stepping into, I would almost feel like an up level. Like, after I would release all that, I would like level up in how I would show up, right? I would feel more courageous as I, went down this path. So, excuse me. So there's that. Completely normal if you're feeling that, but don't let it stop you. And I think that you should keep going, because there's still that part of you that still loves doing it. Like, you still love writing. It didn't change. Nothing changed. I would say if it was like you did something and then now you're like, you don't feel that inspiration anymore, that's different. But I never wanted to stop writing. It was more like I did have doubt, because I thought, am I good enough? And then here comes the imposter syndrome, just sneaking in, being like, who do you think you are? Why would anybody want to listen to you? You're not, certified in anything. You're not this, you're not that. Like, oh my gosh, it still comes up. It gets better, but it's almost just like how that feeling was when I said that feeling would arise of fear, like, oh my gosh, what did I just do? Like, I knew I was on the right path. It's like same with imposter syndrome. It comes up and you just know, like, I'm on the right path. Like, you literally are making the right decision. I think we feel like we have to always feel super like inspired and motivated and like just so in love with what we're doing all the time. And that when we feel that, that means we're going down the right path. That's just the feeling of like the creating of it, right? But the things that you do, like the action you take to bring it to humanity, is different. Like, at least in my experience and how I guess I'm perceiving all this, and hopefully this is helpful. But it's just a different aspect of it, and the ego likes to get involved. And yeah, all those amazing things are going to arise. So imposter syndrome is always fun, and you just have to remind yourself, not only does this mean I'm on the right path, and not only is it completely normal, but just to remind yourself that you did come here for a reason. Like, you literally, the universe wants to express itself through you in these ways, and you have to do it. Like, just realize that you are that important. And that's where I think regular self-love comes in, and building yourself up and your worthiness is super important as well. Like, we can kind of check in with ourselves. Let imposter syndrome be a flashcard for you. Okay, I'm feeling this and it's normal, but also, should I check in and see, have I been having a regular self-care routine? Have I been taking care of myself? I know when I get really excited about having this time to create and record my podcast or write or whatever, it just feels so good. I don't want to stop. And so I think about it all the time. And sometimes then I'm not taking care of myself. I feel like now part of this is taking care of myself. I'm giving myself creative time, but am I also having a life of balance? Am I spending time in nature, which I love to do? I talk about that all the time. And the other areas of my life that I like to, create and share with people. But sometimes I'm like, I feel like I'm a hypocrite right now. I haven't even been barefoot outside, and that's okay. Like, sometimes life gets like that, right? It's not always perfectly balanced, but that's okay, because this is where life comes and helps you, to remind you, hey, don't forget, now it's probably a good time to rest, take a bubble bath, get a massage, maybe just spend a couple days. You just did a lot of creating, and you don't want to push yourself into like your nervous system. You don't want to be overstimulated and worn out, right? Either you don't want to create from that space. And so think of it as like, okay, like, I do love doing this stuff, but it would probably be good to do something that takes care of my body, nourish myself, make sure I'm exercising, moving my chi, whatever resonates with you. And like, for me, I need to make sure that I'm having that connection with my children, that presence, right? Any parents listening to this, especially if you, like, for me, I'm a stay-at-home mom. And so it can be so easy when you're spending so much time and you forget it's not always quality time, that I'm not always present and having that connection, that one-on-one connection. I'm just keeping them alive and thinking about, okay, when am I going to get a break? Which is totally healthy and normal. But yeah, so just checking in with yourself, and yeah, self-care, so important. So back to kind of what I was talking about, letting those things that arise, like I said, be flashcards. But I also want to talk about something that has been really interesting for me, is, I don't know what to even call it. So, like, when I started really channeling and practicing that, I took a course to really fine tune my skills, and I would practice a lot. And the teacher talked about, you can feel really depressed after. And it's like you're coming down after this high almost. And I'm so glad he mentioned that, because that was super hard to navigate in the beginning, because you feel so good. Like, I would be channeling, oh my God, these messages, oh my God, everything was aligning. People were like, wow, you're amazing. I can't believe, whatever. And just the feeling, obviously bringing in that high frequency energy flowing through me. And then the next day, there's this integration that happens. So all that energy that moves through you, right, also becomes integrated, and you have to have a time to integrate that energy. So if you know about taking that time to integrate, it can feel like it can manifest as exhaustion. You got to take that time to take care of yourself. But it was also showing up for me as depression or just feeling really down, like really, really down. And he talked about that's just like the come down, and it's totally normal and it will get better. And it did. Like, I still definitely have moments of integration. We all do as we, go through these cycles. But that was huge for me. And I noticed when I started creating, meaning, I know I just kind of throw that word around, like creating, like whatever you have going on, like you're like, I feel inspired to really start writing this book. And so when I would write, or if you're writing and you feel like you're in the zone, right? That saying, in the zone, you're just feeling it, almost like you're channeling it. It's just feeling good. You feel this great energy. And then maybe the next day you're like, oh my gosh, why do I feel this way? And you will also have a come down from that too. Because it's the same thing. You're channeling those higher frequencies, and we're basically learning how to function doing that as a human, especially the way we live right now. It's not like we live in a way where that's like a normal thing. And so what makes it worse is our judgment about it. I mean, once you realize what depression is, once you realize all those things, it still is hard, but it helps you handle it better. And so that's what you just have to remind yourself in those moments is, again, do I need to take care of myself? What do I need to do? I would say in those moments, make sure you're drinking lots of water, maybe an Epsom salt bath. Water's really grounding. Go out in nature. I'm all about hugging trees, barefoot walking, like, oh my gosh, life changing stuff there. And that will really help. And just knowing that these dark kind of feelings will fade, hold space for them, hold just really loving space for yourself. Realize in these moments, these are the times where you're really getting intimate with yourself, practicing how to take care of yourself if you're not used to that. And um and then just, yeah, knowing that the depression and all of that will pass, and it does get better. Like, it doesn't happen really anymore. And then just, and this like left my mind for a second and came back, like, don't make decisions in that moment, and don't look at your life through those goggles. So, like, whatever word you want to say, you're feeling depressed, down, just in a lot of pain, agony. You're like, why am I feeling like this? It's so easy to not only judge ourselves for this. I hate feeling like this. Why am I feeling like this? What can I do to be better or get away from this? But then also, we can almost like we wear them as glasses, and we look at our life through that lens of those feelings. So then we can look at what we're creating and think, what the hell am I doing? And I would just want to destroy all of it. And it's so weird because, like, literally you can change the next day and you're like, I still love this. Why did I think that I wanted to destroy it? But it's just a part of the process. And so I just invite you to, when you do feel like that, just don't analyze your life in that moment. Don't think so much through that. Just know, like, okay, I started creating over here. We're going to put that to the side. I need to work on myself. I need to take care of myself. I need to have a healthy meal, curl up with a good book, and I'm telling you, it'll move through fast. Do not push yourself. It can be so easy to well, I have this time. I only have so much time where I can record all these podcast episodes, or I got to get these pages done. I'm so close to getting my Oracle deck created, like, and I only have like time tomorrow. I really need to. But I really encourage you that if you check in with your body and ask it permission, should I do this? And really be honest with yourself. And if it says, no, I need to rest, then you honor that. And when you do that, things will move even faster for you. And I've said this in a previous episode where sometimes the fastest road there is actually slowing down. It can almost feel like the opposite of what you need to do. Going within, slowing down can feel like torture, but it's exactly what you need to do. And everything else will speed up. It'll line, it'll happen almost faster than if you would have just forced yourself in those moments. Because also, we want to be authentic with our work. We're not just trying to put stuff out there to make money. And that's okay if part of what you're wanting to do is make money, and that's okay to want money. There's nothing, money, we do not need to have those limiting beliefs that money is the root of all evil, blah, blah, blah. It's like money is an energy exchange, and it's totally okay to need it and want so much abundance of it that you don't have to worry about it anymore. Universe wants that for you too. But we get that by creating from a space of authenticity, checking in with our physical body and asking permission. Is it okay to do those things today? And I had to remind myself, like I totally forgot about that aspect that I also actually learned from a channeling class, is check in before you channel, check in with your body and ask it permission. And if it's a no, then it's a no, and you need to honor that. And sometimes in the beginning, it might feel like a no a lot because your body is getting used to these energies, and it takes some time to integrate. But it doesn't, sometimes we can think, oh my gosh, how much time is this going to take? It really doesn't take a lot of time. I mean, and the more you honor it, the more you're giving your time the more you're letting your body have that time to recover, in your energetic body. And then pretty soon it's like you'll be so everything will be like upgraded in a sense, and you'll be able to handle that high frequency, and you won't need as much rest. Resting is still good, obviously, but won't feel like sometime for a while there it felt like, oh my gosh, I need like a week off. Like not even that long ago I did like one of my nature gatherings, I did like a one-on-one session, and then like I needed like 3 days off. I was like, holy moly. And I also needed to check in, okay, am I doing a practice that honors myself and my energy when I'm doing these one-on-ones? And that did allow me to kind of check in with that as well. Like what is there something that I need to change? And if so, I can make that change. If not, then it's probably just I need to rest. I also did a channeling session with one of my friends, and I felt awful, like for a while afterwards. I'm like, oh my gosh. And it's funny because you're almost like, I don't think I want to do that again. But it's not like it's going to happen. It doesn't mean, oh, that's going to happen all the time. It just means in that moment, you just had a lot to integrate. But that doesn't mean it's going to happen again. And I've had that same experience. I did a one-on-one. It was great. I've done other channelings where I felt just fine, actually felt revitalized. It just depends. And that's just what we have to remember on this creation journey as we get inspired and really start taking steps down this path, is these things are going to arise, and it's going to feel difficult, but just remembering its purpose and what's going on really helps. So I hope that was helpful. I kind of feel this message and transmission coming to an end. And don't forget to like and follow and share and all those good things. I think you might need to also turn on like notifications so you can see when the next episode comes out. There is also an Instagram now linked to the podcast you can follow. It should be in the description. So definitely follow my Instagram. I also like to share kind of like daily insights, not just about my podcast, but I also share like daily insights and messages that come through, trying to get better at being consistent. But that's okay because I wasn't sure what I was creating yet when I started it. And so I took a long break because I'm like, there's no point in posting if I'm not even sure what I'm doing. And it doesn't really, like, honestly, really, it wasn't just that. It was also like my writing just stopped. Like I wasn't really feeling inspired necessarily to write like anymore. And so because I had other things I was starting to create, but I still love writing. So any whoosies. Love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. And I hope you have a wonderful day, and check in again. I will be posting another episode soon.